just remind people where you are, who you are, and where you serve, and what your ministry there is like.
Mhm. I'm Jessie Oliver, Bill and Ellie Oliver's daughter, and I am in San Jose, Costa Rica, serving with Young Life, which is an outreach ministry to middle, high school, and college students.
So that looks different now than it did a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
What does
so
that look
one
like?
of Young Life's big things is that leaders show up where kids are, and kids are on the internet. So we are spending a lot of time on the internet. So that looks like video calls. We're doing some of our Young Life clubs on Zoom. So we're playing games in tiny squares instead of running around with kids, but we're still playing games, singing songs together and talking about Jesus. I am discipling the same girls that I normally meet with, and that also is on Zoom. And one of the things that's been incredible is that somehow kids feel like a felt safety behind a screen. So I've actually heard a lot more about the hard things that they're going through because they feel like they can tell me because I'm not staring them in the eyeball, just like they're staring at the screen. So that's been incredible. It
Hey,
also looks like I have a sixth grade friend named Josue who's been doing cooking classes with Josue, and he's been teaching a couple of our leaders how to cook. We made chocolate eclairs last night. It was very good. Yeah.
okay, so the next time you come back, you have to cook for us all.
Yeah. Sure thing.
So they feel safer, you think, because they're digital natives.
Mhm.
They're more comfortable online than some of us are.
Yeah, and I think all of us are having to deal a little bit more with our stuff. You know, it's a little, we don't have the things that we normally do to hide those things or our typical coping mechanisms. And so I think a lot of things are surfacing. And also when the feeling of like I'm isolated and have to deal with this by myself. And so now I need somebody to talk through this with. And I think that kids like somehow the behind the screen makes them feel more confident or safer. Yeah.
So are you said you're discipling some kids that you already had contact with. How do you make connections with new kids? Is that through, go
Well,
ahead.
what's been incredible, we've actually met a lot of new kids because kids are bored. And so they're like talking with their friends about like, what are you doing? And then we've got, well, these crazy gringos on Monday night play these games and do skits. And so here's the link, you should go. And so we've been having to do introductions, which is so awesome at our clubs and things because there's new kids showing up because their friends sent them the Zoom link. So that's been incredible. And we've had parents that have been sharing with other parents because their kids are spending a lot of time online, but not with healthy interactions. And so they're like, wow, this is something really fun. My kid's in the bedroom dying laughing for an hour. Like, we want you to have your kid be a part of this too.
That's cool. So you've actually seen growth in the midst of quarantine.
We have, and growth not only in numbers of kids that we're meeting and seeing, but also like my college girls that I disciple, seeing them really figure out what it means to genuinely trust Jesus. And when we lose we've all lost or realized that we never really were in control. And so that idea of like, oh wow, if God is really in control of my life and my city and my country and my world, then what does that really mean for me today?
So is Costa Rica, schools are shut down. Is it pretty much like it is here? Everything's come to a stop, or?
Yeah, it's a little different because we have a very high amount of day laborers. And so there's a lot of families that if there's someone in their house didn't go to work today, then there would not be food to eat today. And so what has been deemed like essential looks a little different. We did during Holy Week, everything was shut down, but that's kind of typical here. Everyone gets that week of vacation. And so the government just said you can't leave your house unless you're going to the pharmacy and you're allowed to go to the pharmacy or the grocery store like one day that week. But the rest of the weeks, there's one day a week we are not allowed to leave the house at all, and then the rest of the time they've said only leave if you're going to, the grocery store or the pharmacy, or you have to work. And so one of the things that is like really amazing, they're doing road construction like everywhere, which I'm so excited about because traffic is a big issue here. And so and then they're employing a lot of people that way. And so that has been really good. There is like a very high social distancing that talk there. We have the daily at noon, the news with the Minister of Health and the President, telling everybody to follow these things. But the government is doing an incredible job and has really made everyone aware of what needs to happen in order for everyone to stay safe. And then a lot of response. So we have like I said, like the poverty issue is a big issue. And so schools here have started giving groceries once a week to every student, and churches have really responded. I've been involved in a local church that's turned their sanctuary into a food bank, and yesterday I helped pack food for 150 families, and 50 families picked up food. And so that was our very exciting first time out of the house in a while, and it was just amazing to be able to do something that was helpful.
So on a personal level, you have adopted. How's that going?
Yeah, so we are still at the very last step, waiting for that judge to put their signature. And there was, right after I came back from I visited at Thanksgiving time in the States. Mm-hmm. And then right after I came back, there was this major hiccup that was, no other way of saying than Satan was messing with us. And so in December, we went 40 days, December to February, mid-December to February 1st, didn't have any contact with Alaska because of a government just mistake. And now we're on the second round of 40 days without seeing each other because they have she's still been spending weekends with me, and then Monday through Friday at the children's home. And until our threat level from the health department lowers, they are not allowed to leave. And the children's home, doesn't sound like you could be praying for all of the children's homes and orphanages around the world who are not planning on having kids 24/7, right, and don't have the resources to educate or entertain or all of those things. And so I'm very thankful that she is in a church-run orphanage or children's home that has incredible people. And she's safe, and she's doing well. We are able to talk on the phone every day, but we do not know when we will get to see each other face to face. And the courts have been closed since this started. And so we thought we were days away from the end, and that was several weeks ago. So we continue to wait and hope and pray that the Lord continues to use this time to prepare us both and keep healing our hearts. Mm-hmm.
Mother's Day's coming up. How awesome would it be if she was with you by then?
Yeah, that would be incredible.
So how can we continue to pray for you there in Costa Rica?
There are a couple of really specific things. One, just keep praying for creativity and for the ability to have wisdom to help kids deal with anxiety and fear. We also, a couple of big picture things for Costa Rica. Domestic violence is a really big deal, and it's on the rise everywhere, but it's a really big problem here. I have some high school friends that live in unsafe homes, and they are stuck in those homes 24/7, and so just praying that the Lord would move and protect. And water. This time of year, we're at the end of of dry season.
Okay.
And so, like, for instance, the river that the water source for the home I'm in right now is a river that is completely dry. So
Mm.
we have had no access to water for a couple of weeks of normal access. Their government has been bringing a water truck every few days to fill things. And so that means a lot when you're trying to wash your hands and say, like, be sanitary, and
Yeah.
especially in lower income neighborhoods, lack of water is a really big deal. And then I'd ask everyone to pray for the country of Nicaragua. And I know this sounds kind of crazy, but the government of Nicaragua has not recognized that the coronavirus is real in Nicaragua. They have said that it's an imported disease and that Nicaraguans are immune. So they have not shut down at all. And they have a new strain of pneumonia that is attacking people and killing people, but they're not responding. And so that one, I just have a lot of friends and close family members of friends that live here. But two, that also means that the borders of Costa Rica will probably not be able to be reopened for a more extended period of time, because it would be unsafe
Sure.
for Costa Rica as well. And so just kind of unclear on when travel would be able to. And since tourism is like the biggest business here, that means a lot for the economy of Costa Rica, but also like when I would get to visit you all again. So, and I feel I'm so glad to be here. I love my home in Costa Rica and feel very safe, but there is an unknown on when
Yeah.
that would be.
Is Nicaragua where you
It's our
usually go?
northern border.
Is that where you? Because there, every once in a while you have to go out of the country for a while, right?
I usually visit Nicaragua a couple of times a year.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know the church we've been taking a step of faith and continuing to send missionary support, but how has your support been? Have you seen
Yeah.
some drop-offs, or what's the need in
They're
that area?
so incredibly thankful. I am so incredibly thankful. And I know that it is not easy to trust and to give when you have no idea how much longer you're going to have a job or a business. And I want you to know how incredibly I don't take that lightly.
Yeah.
I don't take that lightly. And I am so grateful. So far, my personal support and Young Life as a global organization, we have not dropped. But we do know that across the board, like 10% is kind of the normal drop in nonprofits. And so are making some moves, anticipating that some people might have to pause giving. But I believe also that this is an incredible opportunity that God is offering the church to live generously and live differently in this time and show what true generosity really means.
I'll tell you, we've been blessed. Mount Pleasant has. I've talked to other pastors whose churches have just. I talked to one pastor who his trustee chair said, "As long as we're not in the building, I'm not giving." And we've not really seen that at Mount Pleasant. So, and it's a fantastic church family. So, but
when I think, like, I'm actually working like just as much or more than I was before. I just have eliminated the transportation piece
right.
because there are a lot of people that really need someone to talk to, and I'm sure that is the same for you.
Sure. Oh, I think our staff is on Facebook and social media. I mean, obviously we're not going places, but we're interacting probably just as much, if not more. So,
yeah.
So, what else would you want to say to your Mount Pleasant family? We back here in the USA.
Two more things. So, if you have single friends, check in on them because I am really grateful. I moved in with some friends a month ago. I had no idea I was asking them to become a semi-permanent housemate when I did that, but I would not have been a healthy person by myself. And so please check in on them. And then also as a mission, Young Life has been reading and praying Psalm 91 every day. We've committed to praying Psalm 91 for 91 days, which we also did when the Ebola breakout happened and we're able to see the Lord really just do incredible things through that prayer. But we have a safe refuge to run to, and he is the hope that holds us together. So keep running straight towards him, and knowing that you are not alone, and that Jesus wraps his arms around you like a mama bird and holds you tight. We're going to be okay.